Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Now before we get into this idiot making another video, because Trump Mafia is not really known for his greatest takes, spoiler alert, I've looked at other videos of his and pretty much this is all he does. He contradicts himself, he makes people mad on purpose and then cry about it. He constantly can't take any criticism. Anytime somebody even remotely goes after him, he starts crying. And you can clearly tell that from one of his videos where he's literally crying about two YouTubers going after him. Because he can't take criticism. But let's not get into any of that. I would like to say before we even get into anything, thank you guys for your support on my video talking about that clown. I really appreciate it. The views has been going a lot better this month. So I would just like to appreciate you. If you like the type of content, make sure to subscribe. But now that that's all they get out of the way, let's see why you shouldn't be a Doom fan. Yeah, that's already a great start.
Doom! You shouldn't be a fan of it.
Literally, why should you not be a fan of it? If you enjoy the game, then you should be a fan of it. But you know what? Let's see the reason why you shouldn't. I'm positive it's not going to be brain dead. Also, for the love of everything, can you stop having a GIF in your videos? I do not understand why people like this, who are usually corny, annoying, take everything so seriously, think that they're smarter than who they are. I do not understand why they always have something annoying in their videos. So, just like last time, we're gonna be replacing that GIF with Trump. That way, your name means something. Because, honestly, I don't know why you have such a dumb name.
I'm not arguing that, but I'm doing it as part of something larger. I'm arguing that you shouldn't be a fan of anything. Anything including the Doom franchise. I'm not arguing that you can't like things. I like things too. I like my Resident Evil. I like music playing. I like actors and artists. I like to see women happy. I also like the Doom franchise. I even hate Doom 3. But what I don't want to be is a fan of any of those things. Because when people become fans, it has a tendency to turn them into crazy people.
Okay, we're already getting off to a great point. Because I don't know if y'all hold that, but if somebody disagrees with him, they're insane. And being a fan of something makes you insane. Man, you really learned from the first game, from the first video, when you kept insulting people's intelligence and acting like you were smarter than other people. Man. I am so glad people like you learn from their mistakes. Oh wait, you don't. Also, maybe instead of calling people insane, maybe just don't make bad videos. Have you ever thought about that? Because my statement right there had as much thought put into it as both of these videos that I've covered from you.
Hence where the word is derived from. It is one of the most sources used in the web Oxford Dictionary. Derived from the word fanatic. From dictionary.com, fanatic defines a person with an extreme or uncritical enthusiasm or zeal, as in religious or politics. Synonyms: militants, hotheads, bigots, zealots, enthusiasts. It's originally a term for crazy religious people. And what I'm trying to get through is that a fanatic is not a good thing to be.
Neither is being brain dead, but you clearly are.
Which right back to the Latin word fanaticus. Liking an anime main hiding a picture of a desktop background, or going to see films, or having an animated gif of her, or having dancing in the bottom corner of a YouTube video. Which being a fanatic for anime main hiding in some bushes outside a house with a telescope. Liking football or soccer, main watching matches, main buying shirts. Being a fanatic, main attacking the fans of teams, or throwing sharp objects at them. Now, this is something I've tried to get across before. This whole don't be a fanatic thing. The last time was because of the frankly insane response I got when I chose to give a negative review to an episode of Doctor Who. I got people making threats in the comment section to a Doctor Who review.
Yeah, because people online are out of pocket, and they always will be. If you're not used to the criticism and you can't handle it, get off the internet. Also, I have a pretty good idea. The reason why people were complaining because you were going after a Doctor Who show was maybe you were being as disingenuous and annoying like you were in the Doom the Dark Ages video. Could that be the reason? But no, he's never in the wrong.
And I feel the need to do it again because of the avalanche of strange responses that I got to a recent video of mine in my comments section. This was a video covering an upcoming game in the Doom franchise called Doom the Dark Ages.
And by strange response, you mean people calling you out on your bullcrap because you made a bad video. Also, we don't have our timers like you. We remember the video.
I was initially looking forward to this game after a trailer came out last year that was really quite good, but in this new video from them I saw a lot of worrying signs, things that to me significantly increase the chance that Doom the Dark Ages, coming out supposedly on May the 15th 2025, may turn out to not be very good.
So you never explained how it wasn't gonna be quote unquote good. The only thing that you criticized it for was the difficulty sliders, which was borderline brain dead, because all it did was make the game faster or slower. That's it. And then criticize it for being a prequel, and then immediately said, but there's no one else for the Doomslayer to kill, giving them the only reason to make a prequel. Like, your other video saying how it's gonna be bad was stupid, and because you got a lot of hate, you couldn't handle it, so you're making this brain dead video. Let's call a spade, you're in defense.
So I made a video trying to warn people, telling them to maybe think twice if they were thinking of pre-ordering this game, and it was maybe a good idea to wait until release to see if id managed to pull this one off, or is it going to be a disaster before you put your money down. Because the chances of it being bad are a lot less than zero, and I think they've just gone up after this video.
Because people disagree with him, it went up. How surprising.
I also wanted to warn people of the frankly punishingly high system requirements needed to play this upcoming game, because it's going to be using ray tracing seemingly all of the time, and that means for recommended specs they're asking for an Intel 12th generation CPU with 8 cores or better, 32GB of RAM or higher, and a ray tracing enabled GPU with 10GB of dedicated VRAM or better, ergo an NVIDIA RTX 3080 or better to play this on recommended specs. Also 100GB of storage space on an NVMe solid state drive.
Man, Doom Eternal had the same issue when they said that they would require a lot of specs, and then it got found out that it didn't. Do you look any of this stuff up, or are you just talking out of your behind?
And many of the responses I got to this in my comment section frankly felt like they were coming from hardcore Doom fans. It came off to me as people with an extreme and uncritical enthusiasm or zeal for Doom. I kept on receiving comments from people who didn't seem to have listened to the arguments I made in the video, to the extent that they were quoting things from me that I never actually said.
By the way, what he means here is that people in the comment sections called him out, and he was strawmanning saying, I never said that, when did I ever say that? And almost every example that he tried to pull, he either heavily implied it, or he heavily hinted at. So no, he's trying to pull the I never said that, guys, while heavily implying it. He is an absolute loser.
So why did this video from id worry me in the first place? Well, one area of concern was this section with the difficulty sliders, because this is not something Doom has done before, and in my mind, for very good reasons.
Oh my gosh, how many times do we need to tell, does the Doom community have to yell at you that the difficulty is not the main thing of Doom? Doom has always had an easy mode. And this whole bullcrap argument of, oh well, it makes this game prior to glitches and crashes. You're an idiot. The only thing they're changing is the speed and the damage. It is not an open world game. You are brain dead.
Because they have 8 sets of sliders visible here, each with multiple positions to control things like enemy AI difficulty, projectile speed, enemy damage. And one of my problems with that is, to my mind, it's going to make the game a lot harder to bug fix.
But it's not. The difficulty sliders are not adding anything new. All they're doing is speeding up the enemies, speeding up the projectiles, and changing the damage. They are nothing new. This is in multiple games, and they don't have bugs frequently. You don't know what you're talking about. You are either rage baiting, or you're being grossly incompetent.
I have some experience with programming, albeit probably very limited, I imagine, compared to the people working with it, which in my experience, the more linear a game is, the easier it is to bug fix. Therefore, if you want a bug-free game, this is a lot easier than this. In terms of difficulty in programming and difficulty in bug fixing, linear is easier than branching. And what it seems to be proposing in their video is neither of these. What it seems to be proposing is this. I asked Microsoft's AI because I was curious, whether this was just my limited experience of game making or whether...
First of all, it doesn't matter how hard it is to code the game, man. That doesn't mean anything. All that means is it's gonna take a bit of hard work. Do you know what Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 has showed us? ID games are very hard workers. That's it. Now, before we get to the AI thing, I would like to say, I want to show you what this man typed in. And when you see what he typed in, we can see why it responded that way. This absolute degenerate, unhonest scumbag asked it if it's easier to make a linear game or a non-linear game. It's not having different endings, you idiot. It is clearly just changing the speed and the damage. It's not a non-linear game. It's still a linear game. You asked it a question based off that in a very vague way, and then tried to highlight this a gotcha moment because the AI responded to, does it matter if it's linear or it's non-linear? If you baited a certain response and then tried to put that as a gotcha. This is why no one's taking you seriously.
branching game. Here's why. Linear games have a simple structure. They follow straightforward, predefined path without variations. This makes it easier to manage games progression. Fewer outcomes, there are fewer cost levels or endings, less scripting, and fewer assets to create. Easier testing. We have one main path, testing results and errors. It's more straightforward and manageable. Whereas branching games, there's a complex structure. They offer multiple paths and outcomes requiring more intricate planning and organisation. There are more outcomes. Each choice needs different scenarios, dialogues, and endings, increasing the amount of content to create and manage. And then there's challenging testing. Testing becomes more complicated as every branch and its combinations need to be checked for errors and consistency. So it doesn't just seem to be a me thing. Now, it's not quite as bad as those sliders make it look at first, because some of the coding will probably not be too challenging. It can be done in a few lines, and I could maybe even do it. Probably a lot slower and worse than their programmers.
Well, isn't it a good thing that you're not making the game?
Which is a good job, because if each of the 8 sliders have 10 positions, that's a frankly huge amount of possible combinations, and the poor programmers at id are going to have to bug fix all of them. And by a huge number, I mean it will be 10 to the power of 8 combinations if there are 10 positions per slider, not 8 to the power of 10 like I think I said in the last video. I got confused, but that would be 100 million combinations. That would be 100 million possibilities from the sliders alone. For the difficulty levels for Doom 2016 there were 5. Do you understand why I consider this to be a red flag, and something that I'm sure the very talented programmers at id could have trouble with?
For the 5th time in a row, difficulty sliders making a game faster and making damage slower or bigger does not make this game non-linear. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop repeating something that the community before you made this video corrected you on multiple times.
Because I don't think the idea to do this came from the people who were going to have to program it and make it work. Because if it was me trying to program this, I wouldn't do this by choice. I don't think this idea even came from Marty Stratton, the boss at id. I don't think this came from Bethesda either, or even ZeniMax. My money would be on this coming all the way down from Microsoft.
Couldn't you literally argue this exact same point for almost every video game? Do you really think the coders for any video game wants to do their job and wants to code a big game, considering how big games are becoming? No. You are clearly just trying to do the, oh my gosh guys, these poor coders, they have to do all this work. Nobody cares anymore.
Because this is Microsoft's statement on accessibility. Our commitment. We are committed to create and grow usage of accessible technology, expand skilling and hiring opportunities for people with disabilities, and advocate for policies that advance accessibility as a fundamental right. That would be my guess on the culprits of why the projectiles in this trailer can be made to move so slowly that they're at the speed of a tectonic plate.
Okay, 2 things. 1, usually I don't like it when Microsoft or PlayStation does anything like that. well, they make a dumb move. However, this is not one of those points. This accessibility, even if it is that, which I really think is just people giving players a choice of how they want to play a game, literally makes the game faster. You can change how hard the game is. And also, if we're going to talk about accessibility, hasn't Doom always been accessible? It really seems like you should try and do the Microsoft bad, which they are. But like this point doesn't really stand on its feet. Also, again, people already told you this, but you don't listen to anybody. The reason the gameplay looks slow is just like the Doom Eternal trailer. It is supposed to be cinematic. That's not actually how the game is going to speed wise be. They did this in Doom Eternal. Again, do you look up any of this before you say it?
And in multiple comments I received, I had people seriously arguing that these sliders are no different from the difficulty levels that Doom has always had. That is the desperation of the defence that I saw. People
By desperation, he means people actually calling him out and being like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. And his response was, oh my gosh, bro, they're desperate. No, you're in the wrong and you're in denial.
seriously arguing that programming 100 million separate possibilities is just the same as programming 4. Now, it may be quite as bad as 100 million combinations make it sound, because how do you make health pickles work in a game like this? How do you program that? It doesn't actually require that much code. First you need a line that triggers if the player hitbox intersects with the health pickle hitbox, something that triggers when you walk over it. Then you need to ask, is the player's health less than the player's max health? So if max health is 100, is the current health lower than that? If it isn't, nothing happens. If it is, the pickle disappears, and player health will equal player health plus the value of the pickle. You're then probably going to need a line from each slider position that specifies the value of health gained in that position. Then you check that player health exceeded max health, and if it has, then player health equals max health. That's to stop health going over 100%. And bear in mind, if that sounds confusing, that's one of the easy ones. There are mercifully quite a few ones on the sliders here that are like that. That shouldn't cause too many issues. Then there are the ones that aren't easy. It looks like there may only be 3 or 4 settings for enemy AI, and I'm not surprised because I dread to think how many lines of code we will be talking about to make that work. And there were more things in their video that worried me. When they said it was going to be more open world and sandbox than previous entries in the series. Oh great, just add a ton more branches to the Doom tree. And they could also come unstuck on the contextual button presses.
It's not open world. Something else that you literally got told multiple times that it's not. It's just like Doom Eternal and Doom 2016. Well, there are secrets that you can unlock. That is it. It is not open world. Again, did you watch that Doom video or not? Also, man, I'm gonna go ahead and show the Mayo reply where he absolutely kills this man because he does not know what he's talking about when it comes to the shield.
Part of this seems to be due to a new system they've come up with of contextual button presses. So the Doomslayer has a shield in this game. The shield is also a chainsaw, and it's one button to operate the shield as a block, the same button to operate it as a parry, and the same button to throw the shield like Captain America. Doom Batman Arkham games frequently had problems with exactly this, and they were a lot more linear than this Doom is looking.
Because Batman Arkham's combat is completely different than Doom Eternal's. Batman's combat is completely only parries. Doom Eternal is not. Batman and Doom are not the same.
In my experience, contextual button presses are not nice to program. You have to constantly make sure that you don't have a computer in a crossroads, telling you to go both right and left simultaneously, because the program gets very angry if there is any ambiguity whatsoever about what it should be doing. So, will this game be good or bad? Ultimately, I don't know.
Then why did you act like you did when you kept on talking about, oh well, the shield is they're gonna do the same thing where like the buttons don't work on it, and the difficulty sliders is gonna make the game. But what did you try to say? It would make the game? Oh, what? You tried to act like it never happened before, despite it literally did, because there were 4 different difficulty cycles. But, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, you're rambling, and now I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. I'm not gonna show any more of his stuff, because all he does is try to say, well, guys, in the future, if I turn out to be white, then it's because I know what I'm talking about, is pretty much what he heavily implies, and then he tells us not to come cry to him. Buddy, I don't think you're gonna be white, and even if you are, nobody's going You can't say, oh, well, you guys can't come crying at me about it. You use brain-deaded arguments and stupid excuses that felt like a 5-year-old made it. You didn't know what you were talking about, and the community corrected you because you got blatantly things wrong. Calm down your ego. But that's pretty much it. See ya.